veins, I've been driving this train. Years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play, and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no, I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space. I won't stop till I hear him say,
Hey there, how's everybody doing tonight? Happy Labor Day. I hope you enjoyed your Labor Day weekend. I know I sure did. What about you?
I ain't doing no labor. I'm laying around doing nothing. That's
I said, did you
that's
enjoy
Labor
your?
Day to me.
Yeah, I said, did you enjoy your Labor Day? Can you hear? Get the wax
Hmm.
out your ears, Alex.
Yeah, I ain't doing. Yeah, well, it's called Labor Day. I ain't doing no labor. I'm sitting around, laying around, doing nothing. That's my favorite thing.
Right, right.
Mhm.
I attended my godbrother's birthday party over the weekend. I attended church services yesterday and had a really great time. So it's been a good weekend. And then I've been binge watching this show called Bosch. I don't know if
Mm,
anybody's seen that show called Bosch. It's on
mm.
Amazon Prime. I am really loving. It's a great police detective procedural.
Right. Oh, okay. Yeah, the last thing
Hmm.
I saw, I watched. And you had suggested this to me. I watched The Samaritan on Prime with Stallone, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, that was it. Did you enjoy it as much as I did? I really liked that.
I mean, it was just okay. It wasn't that well written to me, but it was well shot. It was well
Okay,
shot.
okay. Well, yeah, 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 yeah. I can see what you're saying about that, but I thought, yeah, it was well shot. I guess what I really got out of it, I really enjoy. I don't know. I'm a big Sylvester Stallone fan. I
Hmm.
enjoy him and everything he's in, just about. But what I think I really got a kick out of was the young boy that played in the movie too. I thought he
Yeah,
was really good. Yeah,
yeah. It was kind of a lighthearted superhero type, deal.
yeah.
Not a whole violence, but not that severe violence that you would ordinarily see in a rated R film or nothing like that. So it was more PG,
All
PG
right,
kind of vibe.
more my
Yeah,
lane, yeah.
yeah. So
Well, I enjoyed it, and I thought it was interesting. How, because I kind of figured, I won't give away the ending, but I kind of figured what happened at the end. I kind of saw that coming. I don't know if
oh,
you
okay.
probably saw that coming too at the end.
Yeah, yeah. Yep, sure
Mm-hmm.
did. So, but
Mm.
hey, Roro, happy Labor Day.
Yeah. Hey, Roro, how you
Yeah,
doing? All
yeah.
right.
Everybody else
But
must be having a burger or a hot dog because I they're not showing up in this chat tonight, so they must be enjoying themselves. Maybe had a few drinks.
we open with Tambra and Greedy talking about his emotional connection with another woman. And
Mm,
Tamra, I found like Tamra's attitude during that the opening was very interesting, because for me, I just couldn't understand how she, as a person that's in her own skin, how she knows what's going on inside another person's body. Like,
mm.
you're not with this man 24/7. So how do you know what he did or did not do to say so emphatically that he doesn't have an emotional connection with another woman? I mean, to me it's kind of clear. You guys have always been on again, off again. 16 years you dated and he's never put a ring on it. To me, that's very obvious that there's other women in his life, or other people, male,
Right.
female, whatever's going on. He's busy with somebody, and it ain't just
Mm.
you.
Yeah, and according to her, let her tell it, or even him too. He's very open with his text messages. She's read the text between them two. She hasn't seen anything inappropriate. He's very open with his phone as far as she says regarding this woman. So
Hmm.
she hasn't seen anything inappropriate as far as them doing anything or being emotionally involved or anything like that. So,
Well,
and
who
of
can
course,
really say for another person that you're not emotionally connected to somebody? Like, that would be like you saying that I'm not emotionally connected to another guy, or whatever. How would you know? How would you know?
yeah, you don't really know. I mean, plus those are texts that he's letting her see. We all have a delete button. or whatever. You get rid of.
Well, oh yeah,
Mm,
that takes us
mm,
back to put a ring on it and Otis's
right,
fiasco.
right.
Yeah, of course.
So
You could always delete it. And then I mean the other thing of it is emotional connections are just made through texting. What does he
yeah,
say to her when he sees her? What does he how does he touch her? How does he, does he is he romancing her? We don't know. That's my whole point. You don't just have a relationship with people, at least I hope not. I don't know some of these young people. I guess that's their relationship, but
mhm,
most people of a certain age, and they are of a certain age because they're over 40. So,
yeah.
most people over 40 have relationships actually by touching, feeling, and spending time.
I want to hear from the other young lady and get more in depth in what kind of relationship that she believes they're having. We only
Mm.
seen her one time. When
Oh
when she made.
yeah, that's
You
right.
know,
That's right.
so
That's
I want
right.
I want to hear more from her on why she would say this and if in fact is actually true and where her receipts. You know what I mean? So, they just kind of
Right.
threw that out there and then left it out there for Demand and Tambra to kind of tuggle back and forth with. But we don't have that third party to give their side.
Read what Roro says on the screen there. Can you read that?
Yeah, yeah. Tambra seems to be in denial about Demand cheating. She said demon, but I know what I know what she means.
uh yeah, I often write that too about him.
Yeah.
It's usually because I ran out of space, usually.
Right.
Right,
Uh-huh.
Roro.
Yeah. Donna
I
D.
guess she trusts him. I guess she trusts her man, but I really wish if she trusts him so well, why aren't they already married with children? I guess that's my question for the day. Like, why
Well,
aren't you
well,
already married after 20 plus years of kicking the can down the street? Like,
well. According to what you
pretty soon
said,
you guys are gonna be 50.
she didn't want to
Go ahead.
marry him in Vegas. According to what you were saying, so
Well,
it,
that's
it
what she
falls on her.
said. She said,
Mhm,
she said that in one of the episodes that they were in
mhm,
Vegas, and while they were there, I guess on vacation, having a good
mhm,
time, like people do, that they passed by a chapel, a wedding chapel, a drive-through, or whatever, and he said, "Come on, let's go. Let's," he did offer. But
mhm,
I feel like one, a guy that's going to ask you that's known you for over 15, 16 years, known you since you were a teenager, he kind of has an idea of what kind of mindset you have, what kind of wedding, like if you're a runaway chapel gal, or if you're like a be at home and have a big fancy wedding in the church, or whatever venue, right? You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing. It's like, why would he even ask her? And then the other thing is for her, like, why would she turn him down? Because if it were me, let me just say this. If it were me and I really cared about this dude and loved him that way, I'd go ahead and do the drive-through chapel wedding. You know why? Because I would go ahead and do it, and then I say, you know what? When we get back home, we've got to have a wedding that my parents can attend, and your
mhm.
friends and your family and my friends. That's what I
Right.
would say. So we would be legally married. So now we got that out the way. You ain't
Mhm,
backing out of this because we already, here's the paper. It's all on paper.
mhm.
And then we just gonna have a little, like maybe a month or two later, or three or whatever. We just gonna have us a little church wedding or whatever we're gonna do. Have it doesn't have to even be big, but we're gonna do it so that our family and friends can attend and actually hear us saying our vows. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The same thing. They could always just have fun and go get married at the chapel in Vegas, and then come back home and plan a more formal thing for small family and friends, a small gathering. Doesn't have to be nothing lavish. Everybody want these lavish,
Yeah.
weddings.
People
And
have I've seen
no, I'm
Go
saying
ahead.
they want these lavish weddings, but half of them don't want the marriage, just want the lavish wedding.
Yeah. Oh, let's see. Dundee. Hey Dundee. Donna D says, they have been off and on. That's what I'm saying. But I think that's crazy. To me, people that do the off again, on again thing, I think that's very toxic, in my opinion. But that's just what I feel. On an interview, Tambra said that she was living her best life before getting back with Demond. Well, why don't you go ahead and keep
Why
living
don't you
your
go
best
back?
life then?
Yeah, that's
Why
what I'm
did you go back
saying.
to Demond? I don't. Why are people going
That
back?
makes no sense.
It's like being in school and like you get to the 12th grade and now you decide to go back to ninth grade. Why do
Mm,
that? Like, if you
mm-hmm.
living your best life, apparently he wasn't part of your best life. If you
Right.
living it without him, apparently he's not part of your best life. So why can't she see that? Because I can clearly see it. I really
Yeah.
can. But you
That's
know,
an oxymoron. I'm living my best life before getting back with him. So what you go back? Keep living your
right.
best life.
Keep living your best life. That's what I say. But hmm,
Hmm.
hey, knock yourself out, as I always say. Knock yourself
Yeah.
out. But
Craziness.
and so I say verify, 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 and I say that because again, if she had wanted to check on him, but see, this is the out that a lot of men love, and women that fall for it, I feel like they're not being very wise because when a guy says we're off again, or let's go our separate ways, or let's take a break, what he's really saying is he wants to get with other women. And then you go back a month later or a year later, what's the purpose? What's the purpose? You're gonna always have that kind of relationship. To me, it kind of reminds me of Glenn and Letitia.
Mm,
Like all these
hmm
people in this show are having these on again, off again. The
That's
men
that
are cheating. It's crazy.
that's all a break means. Regardless of who do it, the man or the woman, a break means I need a break from you because I got to make time for this other person right now. When I'm done with them, I'll
Exactly.
come
I've
back.
always
You
understood
know,
that as a teenager, so I can't
yeah,
understand how dare you get to be 40 and you don't understand that. That's just
right.
crazy. I think women out here dating like in their 40s like they're still in their teens. I don't get it. I don't
Mm.
get it. I don't get it. Like what the hell? But knock yourself
Denying
out, ladies.
denying the fact
Mhm.
that they're aging. That's what it is. They still want to be
Well, right,
kids.
and then you don't really want anything, but then now that your eggs are getting all old and dried out, now you want to have a baby.
Mm,
knock yourself out, ladies. Knock
mm.
yourself out. I just don't get it. I'm sorry.
Oh boy.
But anyway, so then Marie meets with Letitia and Latrice, and this scene is really kind of comical though, guys, because did you catch how Latrice was looking around that van watching
Mm,
Letitia and Glenn going back and forth with the hollering and the finger waving and wagging their finger in each other's face. I
hmm
was like, man, that's just so high. What did you think about that?
Yeah, she's off on the side peeking like I ain't going nowhere until I see this play out.
Right,
So
right, right. And
you
I
know,
guess she trying to look out for her girl, trying to be an eyewitness. I can dig it. I can dig
but
it.
the question: why is Glenn even there? I got people watching you. You need to
He
answer your
was
phone.
following her.
Of
Apparently, he was
course.
following
He,
his wife,
no, he's stalking. Let's just call it what it
stalking.
is. He's
Well,
stalking.
allegedly,
Whatever.
we're saying
Okay. Yeah,
allegedly.
we're saying
Yeah.
allegedly, but I know what
Well,
it is.
you go ahead and take that lawsuit.
And
I'm not taking it.
yeah, you
I'm
know
gonna
what it
say
is.
allegedly.
Well, Glenn can sue me. Whatever you think I got. Whatever. You know what it
All
is.
right, all right.
Okay.
When that house
So
gone, don't be saying nothing to me about it. Always
whatever.
remember your property is part of your
Mm,
estate.
yeah, whatever. He peeking around
Mhm.
that car, trying to see who in that passenger seat, and
Yeah. Oh
worrying about
yeah.
her not answering the phone. You got to answer your phone. I got people watching you. It's dangerous out here in these streets. Now, and unless he's some kind of underworld figure, or he been big in these streets doing this street game, and he got people after him and whatever. That's just a crock of bull. Him trying to keep her safe and all that. She's been going around Jackson her entire life, and nothing has happened to her yet. So for him now to start doing it, was he doing this before, having her followed and protected and all this, or is he doing it now because she's not with him every day in his presence? She's not putting up with his BS at the moment. She's not forgiving as she used to be. So now he wants to start following her, having people follow her. That's a bunch of bull.
Right. I agree. I was responding. Hey, Dance 87. Yeah, Roro says that let me go back to that one. Roro kind of agrees with me. She says now that Tamara's older, she's desperate to have a baby, so her options are less than when she was younger.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I
that's how it
mean,
goes.
that's the reality of life.
Mm-hmm.
Whether women want to agree with it or not, men's value as they age, dating wise, it increases because
Mm-hmm.
typically they're doing better financially, and a woman's value in terms of in the dating market, not saying how you value yourself because that's something totally different, but if you honestly being looking at yourself as being in the marketplace, a woman's value as she gets over say 35 or 36, it typically kind of decreases because, and there's always, for men, there's always a fresh pool of younger women. Now I will say this, in the modern era, women do have the option of dating younger.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're open to that, then knock yourself out. You may find, because there are a lot of guys I know. I dated a couple of guys younger than me. Now you guys know I always say I don't date younger, but what I mean by that is I'm not dating. I'm not out here. I'm not the one that's going to be out here dating nobody 10 years younger than me. That's not happening. But a guy maybe 3, 4, 5 years or whatever like that. That's okay. And I've
Mm-hmm.
dated guys and was really surprised to see, like, very professional, had their stuff together. Like, I'm like, oh, okay, it's like that. It's like that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing though. But when you wait until you got about 40 years old to try to have a baby as a woman, you really haven't calculated, in my opinion, you really haven't calculated or planned out your life like that. It's kind of scary, like on Married at First Sight. Same thing with our girl, Stasha. Same thing. She's almost 40, and now she's done all these things. She has everything she wants, building a brand new house out there in San Diego, California, probably $1 million house. But yet, she didn't need a man until she looked up and said, "Oh, I'm almost 40 and I don't have any children." I mean, like, that's something you should be thinking about, to me, in your 20s. Not saying you have to get married in your 20s, but think about it. Think
Yeah,
about it
well,
and start
yeah,
planning for it.
yeah. Pregnancies in your 40s for women gets riskier and riskier as you guys get older. Plus, she had a heavy fibroid issue she was dealing with, so that also causes problems. Obviously, she said at one point she had 38 fibroids removed or something like that. So, her body's going to be through it. A pregnancy for her is going to be very, very challenging. You know,
It can be. And then that's
yeah.
another thing. I don't know what doctor, I mean, every book and every YouTube video I've ever watched, and every doctor I've ever seen when I was taking care of my own fibroids, doctors always say when you have the surgery to take care of the fibroids, start planning to have your baby. So if she had
Hmm.
the surgery 10 years ago, that should have been when she was looking at having her children.
Yeah, yeah,
5
yeah.
years ago, or whatever the case was, because you don't have that surgery and then wait. Like, because when you wait, they tend to grow back, because women like myself and her that have fibroids, that's kind of like a genetic predisposition, so chances are you're going to have them again.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
that's just a thought. So
Yeah, and
but
I want I
but
want I
yeah.
want to address Roro's comment right here. Letitia said
Oh.
he
Mhm.
followed her and he had people following her. Sounds like stalking to me. You know what's interesting about that is I'm a street guy. I'm from the street. You know,
Okay.
and a lot of times the same guys that you'll have watching your lady will end up being one of the same guys she lay with. Okay, it's like I've known dudes to go to prison and say, "Watch my old lady while I'm away." And
I've
what
heard of
you,
that. Now, I don't know about
you
it, but
know,
I've heard people say that too. So I don't know if that's true or
um,
not. But I
it's
guess if
true.
you're saying it is,
It's
okay.
true. It's true because
Well, you
that
know what? Letitia is a catch, from what I can see and what I can tell from down in that little small neck of the woods that they're in. Because Jackson, Mississippi, for like you and I were saying, I'm from Detroit and you're from New York. It's kind of a small town from what
yeah,
we're
mm-hmm,
seeing.
yeah, predominantly black. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they having a water issue, but that's another podcast. We talk about that another time.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as Jackson, just being a small place or whatever, I know probably everybody probably knows everybody or whatever, at least
That's what it
acquaintance or,
is.
or familiar with. But just have to
Mm-hmm.
be very careful about having men watch your wife or watch your woman because that's who they'll end up in bed with. Because a lot of times, and I've known this to happen as well, is that the guy who really wants you will be telling you everything your man doing, okay, to to keep you keeping tabs on him. Yeah, he with this one now, he with that, and the guy don't know it, okay, but you know everything he's doing because one of his boys telling you because they want to bed you. You know that there's no honor. When they say there's no honor among thieves, that's how it is in the street. I mean, somebody really, really got to be your dude to not want to lay with your woman like that.
Letitia gives Marie and Latrice the 411 on Glenn's alleged stalkerish ways when she gets inside the restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And she tells them that Glenn is accusing her of cheating.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't feel like necessarily, now this is just my thoughts. I don't see where Letitia, I'm sorry, Letitia, I don't feel like she's cheating. I think that she has a lot going on between business, raising her son, and being on this show, I don't feel like she's cheating, but that's interesting that the cheater projects his cheating ways onto his wife. That's really
Well, that
interesting to me.
that's in his mind because he knows what
Mhm.
he has been doing. So he's
Mhm.
creating a scenario in his mind, and he know when he's with other women, that the position he got them in and what they're doing to him, and all this stuff is in his mind. So if he's sitting there picturing his woman doing those same things with another guy, he can't take it. So it's going to drive him crazy. So he's going to make sure he leaves her no wiggle room. I got to know where you are. I got to follow you. Answer your phone. Blah. Because any wiggle room, she could be up there with her legs in the stirrups or whatever with some other dude.
All right, sir,
Okay.
sir. We don't do
So
those
it is what it
visuals
is.
over here. Yeah. Well, you know what? And if she wanted to cheat, that would be up to her. I mean, I
He
feel
gave her a
like
hall pass.
she could, yeah, and I feel like you know what, because she could just go ahead and, as far as I'm concerned, at this point in stage in the game, how about we find out whose baby that is? How about we run that test, and then how about I serve you with these divorce papers? How about that? Because
I
I'm
don't know
not
what the.
playing. I'm not playing out here. Letitia might be playing, but there's too much. And I don't know if anybody's aware. This is a little bit of on another note because it just occurred to me. I have been reading articles for several years now about Mississippi, and particularly Jackson, Mississippi, having one of the highest HIV per capita rates in the entire country. So now your
Wow.
man wants to be a whole HOE there in these streets. And you mean to tell me you're going to allow him to come home and give you HIV? I'm sorry, sir.
Mm,
No, you will not. We will be divorced in a heartbeat. Goodbye.
hmm Yeah.
Because they have the highest HIV rates in the entire country because we know that Mississippi is the poorest state in the union. You know that, right? And
That's some
apparently
country
people
there.
down there don't like to use condoms. So they don't like to use
Mm.
any type of prophylactic. So I don't know. Like I said, knock yourself out, guys. Knock
I
yourself out.
mean, and the easiest thing in the world to do is just to go ahead and get a DNA test. What's the holdup? Because
Exactly.
you telling me the baby's not yours don't mean nothing. You're a liar. You're a habitual liar. You're a chronic liar. So you saying the baby's not yours don't mean anything. We need proof, and
Right,
nothing tells
right,
the truth
right.
like DNA.
Right. He wants to do the old wives' tale. Later on we'll hear him talking about he wants to do the old wives' tale about features and does the baby look like you? That's retarded.
Mm,
That's crazy. Excuse my
mm,
saying that, but I'll say that's crazy.
mm,
But anyway, we see that Marie is talking about her and her husband, her estranged husband, that they're cordial, and as well as she's being cordial with Latrice. So I was like, oh, that's a pleasant surprise on a good note. Did you
mm.
notice that about Marie and
Oh,
Latrice
oh,
actually getting along?
the whole episode. They were just
Hmm.
BBM. What they call it, best friends, BFFs, BFFs.
BFF,
You know,
best friends
yeah,
forever. Yeah,
yeah.
I
They
don't
were
know
just
about that, but they did. I mean,
that's
like
how they were
she
acting.
really. Well, yeah, she did take a mature stance, and we see that later on too. That she does that with Akeisha. She says, "I'm not into this." He says, she says stuff. So I was like, "Oh, she done suddenly grew up." I'm impressed, and I'm very proud of her. I'm very
hmm
proud of her.
And
Well,
and
anyway, so
and
go ahead,
listen, hold on, real quick. Cedric just knows how to play Marie. He knows
Cedric.
her.
Oh, the husband.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he
Hmm.
knows what buttons to push, how to get her softened up. He been doing this forever, and there's no signs of her even going anywhere. He come back and forth. He'll sing her a song. He'll put on his best suit. He'll do whatever, and she'll be, melting again. So, it is what it is with them.
Could you address this comment that's on the on screen?
Donna D. I always agree with the statement: once a cheater, always a cheater. Um, a lot of the time, most of the time, yes, but not all the time. I wouldn't totally generalize that. Because once
Okay.
somebody, you have to really, really just get tired of doing it, and you have to get tired of really hurting someone you say you really, really love, and it happens, and just a quick story for myself. In my first marriage, I was a chronic cheater. I was pathetic. I stayed in the street, but when I saw how much it was hurting her, and it destroyed my first marriage, my second marriage, I didn't cheat at all. I didn't step out. I didn't do any of that because I
How long
knew
were
the
you guys
effects.
married in your second marriage?
12 years. Yeah,
I
12
don't know.
years.
I'm asking you.
Like,
I don't
I'm
know.
thinking, yeah, 12
Okay.
years. 12
About
years.
12 years. Yeah.
Yeah, 2008 to 2000 to 2020. So, yeah. So I didn't step out at all. I was very faithful, very devoted because I know how it destroyed the first marriage, how it affected my
Mhm.
first wife, how it hurt her. So you get tired of hurting people. You get tired of hurting somebody you say you love. You know, if you love them, stop hurting them. But that also comes with maturity as well. You know, I don't see a 27, 28-year-old man subscribing to that. I know there are some. I'm not going to say every man, but the
Well,
typical 28-year old.
you can only speak honestly, like in that you generalize, and like you said about the comment that was on the screen. You know, you don't
Mm.
want her to generalize, so you're kind of generalizing
I'm
now
not generalizing. I
yourself.
said not. I said not all. I said I'm pretty sure there's some 28-year-old men who are very faithful. Okay,
Hmm.
but for the most part, I would bet just be me that most aren't. But I can't say all.
Well, you can't say okay. So anyway, so Roro asked the question, did he really say that the baby wasn't his? Yeah, he said that several times in this episode and previous episodes that he doesn't think the baby is his. This episode, we'll get to that in a sec, but I'll go ahead and say it. He actually said something like the effect that he admits that he had an affair with this woman, this other woman outside his marriage, but that he claims that she was already pregnant. So I'm thinking like, dude, who really does that? Like, who's really out here hunching on a woman that's already pregnant? You are really low life scum, sir. You
Mm,
really are.
mm.
But just my
Unless she was,
thoughts.
unless she was maybe like a month or
It
5 weeks.
doesn't. It
Not,
doesn't matter. It
I mean,
doesn't matter.
if she's not showing
I
and she doesn't say anything to him, how would
no
he
no no.
know whether
Right,
she's
right.
pregnant or
Okay,
not?
okay. Oh, okay. Okay. In that case, I see what you're saying. But what he basically tried to say was because the math is off. But then I will say this. Okay, so I will backtrack a little bit and retract some of my statement because men don't understand, and even a lot of women don't understand how the maternity calendar works. They basically give you 2 weeks earlier than when you actually got pregnant because they go by your menstrual cycle and not the date that you were impregnated. So a lot of people don't understand that when you go to the doctor and they say, let's say, for example, let's say they say you're 6 weeks pregnant, and the guy is counting backwards and saying, well, I didn't see her 6 weeks ago because I was out of state during 6 weeks ago, if he counts back exactly 6 weeks. But the chances are that actually you impregnated her 4 weeks ago. The
Hmm.
gestational calendar adds on tax on an additional 2 weeks. So a lot of men don't get that, women don't get that. And if you're not reading up on it and you don't bother to research, which a lot of people apparently don't, then you wouldn't know that. So
Hmm.
but I think at the end of the day, Cliff said the important thing: just take the DNA test.
That's it.
we don't
That-
live we don't live back in the hick days. We live in a very highly technological society, and
mhm.
DNA tests come very cheaply now, and they are very correct. They're very, like 99%. So just go ahead and take the darn test. Don't be sitting up here trying to guess. That's silly. You know that
Right.
you slept with the woman. So the only way where I would see where he wouldn't be wanting to take the test is if for a fact that he know he hadn't stepped outside of his marriage. Then yeah.
Right. But he know he stepped out. So,
He did, and
you
he did
know,
with this particular person. So what's the problem, dude? Take the
even
test.
even if I felt the math was off, to ease the mind of the woman I love, I would take the test. But I think he has a real fear that that child is his.
Right. And that's my other thing too. So my other thing is, wouldn't you want to know as a man that has any kind of moral fiber or ethics, wouldn't you want to know?
I
Because
would.
here's a guy who says, I grew up without my dad there. So you're just gonna continue this horrible curse. You're gonna continue this generational cycle of men being just males and simply instead of actually being men.
Uh,
You're just walking around here with the masculine part, but you really don't have the wherewithal to be a man.
well, trying to ward off men from Letitia's loins is more important to him than stepping up and being a father to this other child. You know, or at least getting the truth.
Oh yeah, Miss Bell brings up a point. Yeah, she's got a point about it. Has been, and that's funny too. So she says it's been 8 years, and I think they already know if that's his baby or not. At this point, it's a storyline.
Mm,
But you know what? I agree and I disagree. So I'm like on the fence on that, Miss Bell, because yes, we have heard that as they gave more information and filled out the context to this storyline, that yes, it's been 8 years since this affair happened and the child is at least 8 years old. But I'm sure Alex knows, and I know I have heard of couples and people that have children and that they don't. You can watch a whole show. What is it called? Paternity Court that comes on TV.
yeah.
There are
Hmm.
grown people that don't know who their fathers are. So
Right.
I'm quite sure that in the real world, there's a good possibility that this man may not have ever taken a DNA test, and that he's
Mm,
simply going by the shape of this kid's nose. Is his hair curly like mine or not curly like mine and kinky like mine, and all this kind of carrying on that people have done, like, a century ago people used to do that. But like
mm.
now that we have DNA tests, there's no need for you to sit back and see what how curly the person's hair is and if they have dark brown eyes like mine. All you got to do is just take a test, sir. It's just that
Yeah.
simple.
Maury Povich did it for 25 years. You are
I mean,
not the
right,
father. He did 25 years in each paternity test. So, I mean,
right.
if you don't want to spend the money, go on TV. You know, you're on TV now anyway. What difference does it make? So, you know, you can always get the paternity test done. The if you go on a TV show, the network will pay for the damn thing. Just go ahead and get it done.
Language, sir. But
Mhm. Oh,
so
please read that.
let me see. I'm gonna go back because I think I missed. We were on cordial.
Mm,
The ladies talk uh, about Keisha and what she said about them being ugly.
mm.
Um, I don't know. I think that
They-
was a lot of he says, she says type of
yeah,
stuff.
Tampa stirring the pot. That's what that was.
Tambra was
Hmm.
stirring the pot. Tambra trying to
Hmm.
get the attention off of her and Demon, or
Hmm.
Demon as we like to call him,
Right.
or greedy as some other people like to call him. And I wonder what he's greedy about, as if I don't already know.
Right.
Uh, Letitia gossips about Demon and Tambra. Sophia
Mm.
and JJ. I'm gonna move on to Sophia and JJ and their blended family. They got
Yeah.
married after dating for like maybe like 11 years. They finally got
Mm.
married. They've been married for 4.
Hmm.
And I found it really interesting though. I like that they talked about their blended family, how she has 2 adult kids, and I guess her daughter D is
Mm.
staying in the house with them.
Hmm.
But Sophia wants her grown daughter D to move out so that
Mm.
her and JJ can do it on the washing machine. What do you think about that?
Yeah, and I think the daughter, she not only lives there, she's pregnant. Okay, so if she's living there, she's gonna bring somebody else into the house. Okay, when she has this child. So, and
No,
she
she
says,
not.
and
No,
she
she
said,
not.
well,
Not if she not married to him.
not in my house. You know, you're not going to stay here and keep bringing babies in here. You know,
Mm-mm. Yeah,
but
you
in
gonna
any
have to make
event,
plans to get out.
yeah. In any event, she says something to them like, "Oh, y'all gonna miss me when I'm gone." I said, "Yeah, well, make me miss you then." You know,
Exactly. Make
you
me
know,
a true believer. Exactly.
yeah,
Because
go
you're
about your
not
business.
having more fun up in my house than I am as a grown woman. I'm sorry, you're not.
Be- because they can't have their fun like they have to be in the bedroom with the door closed and locked and this. So you're a prisoner in your own home when you got these grown kids staying up in your
One of
house.
I've told this story before, but honest to goodness, one of my most fondest moments when my son went off to college in New York was that I could walk around my house whenever I wanted, booty butt naked. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so like I'm like, yeah, go on, enjoy your life, get out there, get your education, get your career started, because I know a lot of people have empty nest syndrome, and what I've noticed particularly, which is really funny to me, and I think our moderator extraordinaire Jay Wiley can attest to this. A lot of men miss their children more than the women do, and I think,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why that is exactly, but I did miss my kids, for a minute, and I kept in contact with them, but as long as they're doing well, I'm happy. And
Yeah,
they don't have to be in the house with me. They really
yeah,
don't. It
yeah,
was my goal because I had to stay home, and I guess it kind of relates to my own past, because my father was terminally ill when I was a teenager, just as I was, graduating from high school, getting ready to go to college, and so I sacrificed a portion of my college career to be at home and having to commute to college, which I would really wanted to be away at college, living like the rest of my friends. That's what I wanted to do. And
Mm,
but I'm glad that I had that time with my dad. I don't regret that, but it was very difficult. And so I think that's why it was so important for me that my children go away to college. I made sure that both of them went out of state. I didn't even want them close to home. Go away, get out of Michigan, see some of the country. There's other parts to the country than the state that you were born in, whatever state you were born in, and really grasp that there's a whole life out there outside of your home, outside of your city, and outside of your state. And I'm very proud to say that both of my kids took advantage of that.
mm. And to JJ and So Gucci's credit, they didn't bring any more children into the equation because she already had two. He had three
Hmm.
daughters already, including a set of twins. He has twin daughters and another daughter. That's he has
Yeah,
three.
yeah, because they've
So
been in
they
a
have,
whole reality
they,
show with him, his
yeah,
daughters.
they have five children. So they didn't bring any more children into the equation because you know how some people are. We don't have
Lord
any
knows they didn't
together.
need to. Nah, yeah,
Yeah.
no, Lord knows. I was just talking to you. We were talking
Mm,
about that earlier today about, we
right.
won't say any names, but
Mm.
I don't think that's necessary. I think you get to an age, and if you've got kids and he's got kids, be satisfied. Be
Just love each
satisfied. You
other.
don't
A
you don't
child
have to.
doesn't
Yeah,
solidify
well,
anything with you guys. Just love each other.
yeah,
That's
build
it.
something else. You don't have to build a whole human being. Build something else. Build a business. Build a
Which they do. They
podcast.
have businesses. Yep, they have business. They have real
Exactly.
estate
And that's what
business
I'm
and stuff.
saying. Go ahead and do that. You don't it's enough kids out here. It's enough kids. If
Yeah,
you wanted a kid, you could even adopt one, but there's enough children out here. That's just my
yeah,
thought. That's just my piece. Hey Ellen, thanks for joining in and dropping the links and everything. That's our member and extraordinary moderator. So we want to thank her for being here today.
yeah. The one that never
Jim,
sleeps.
no, she never does. Her or Monique King. Well, what
Yeah,
about that fishing trip? What about the fishing trip that the guys went on? Oh, wait. I'm sorry. I'm jumping ahead too fast.
yeah.
Letitia and Glenn clash at their son's birthday party. What did you make of that? Like, wow, they just
Mm.
got really like Glenn. Did you even understand why Glenn got so upset? He said that he was being disrespected. Like, really? Did
To
you feel that
disrespect
way?
disrespect to him is the fact that she's cold to him right now. You
Oh,
know,
that's what he was
That's what
talking
it
about.
is. He's talking about her. He asks her something. She give him one word answers, things like that. That's when she's very cold. She's emotionally detached from him right now, and because of that, he feels disrespected. She's still angry about the parking lot incident.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah,
so
yeah.
he hasn't even apologized for that. You know, and so he keeps just piling things on because he's so concerned with what she may or may not do that he's not thinking straight. You know, and Cliff has to step in, aka Zaddy has to step in and try to calm the situation down because he's hollering about he don't want to be disrespected. You're not going to disrespect me. You're not going to disrespect me. Well, how is she disrespecting you? She's giving you a one word answer. Were you disrespecting her when you disappeared for 2-3 days, laying up with somebody else? I
Yeah,
mean,
absolutely, he
you
was.
reap what you sow. People got to
And that's
understand
what
that.
Cliff told him. That's what I mean. What Cliff actually said. I'm sorry. He said it more like in a confessional to us. But I
Mm,
absolutely agree with Cliff. I said, Cliff's stock really went up in this whole episode because
mm,
as a man, he didn't fall down to that lowered standard of just being a male and just being, out there in the streets. He really stood by, like, first of all, that he was there at that party and that this was a child's party, and both parents should be focused on that child and not trying to be at war with one another. Put that to the side and just be cordial and have a, I talk about this. You and I have talked about this, the public self and the private self. I don't
mm,
think some of these people that claim to be adults, I don't think they know how to have a public self, how you
mm,
can appear calm and how you can control your emotions. I think that's like a real issue with some of these people, not being able to control their emotions and have a public self versus a private self. And
mm.
having these conversations and knowing when to have these conversations in private. Those
Well, you know
one-on-one
what?
conversations where you want to holler at each other, have those privately.
You know what? And I'm gonna do a shameless plug here for my channel, Magnetic Repellent. I did a whole video on controlling your emotions. People
You
have the
sure
hardest
did.
time. Yeah,
That
people
was a
have the
great
hardest
that's a
time.
great Go ahead.
Thank you, Aubrey. Thank you for that. But people have the hardest time doing that, controlling their emotions, understanding your behavior created this situation, not the other way around. Her be- her behavior didn't create it. Your behavior created it. So as long as it takes to get things right, if it can ever get right with y'all together, you got to eat that. Whatever it is, you got to eat it or walk. Go about your business. But it's something that you did. You created this. So don't get mad at a situation that you created. If anybody's been disrespectful, it's been you. I'm talking about Glenn. You know what I mean? So I can't. I don't.
Did you feel like Roro is saying on the screen? Do you feel like that Glenn was acting, and I kind of sensed that too, that Glenn was acting as if he almost wanted to get physical with Letitia.
Yeah, because his imagination is running amok, and he was starting to get angry, and that's why Cliff had to step in because he seemed like he wanted to reach over and grab her or something.
Right, right. I saw that too, and I'm very alert, and my antennas are very sensitive to that.
Mhm.
Having dealt with that type of situation in my past, Miss Bell makes a good comment. She says, "What about their son's birthday party? You could have fooled me. Looked like a bunch of adults sitting around along the wall, looking sad."
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
you know, and I said this to you earlier. I said, Glenn should have been the one in the bounce house, jumping around with the kids because he was acting like a kid. He should have been the
He
one in the
was.
bounce house or whatever the case is. You don't do that at a kid's party. Even let's say even Letitia, she probably could
Mm-hmm.
have been a little more cordial to him just for the sake of the party. Okay, but she's angry from the parking lot. She's angry from all the other situations that they had in their relationships. So
She's finally fed up
she's
because she's
she's
put
getting
up with all this stuff for so long. It seems like she's just fed up.
she's getting more and more cold toward him, and she's not warming up to his advances as she would have in the past. She referenced in the past, you come say sweet nothings and I fall back
Mm-hmm.
in bed with you. That's the
That's right.
pattern. That's the
That's
pattern. So
that's their
she's now
toxic pattern.
yeah, so
Yes.
she's now disrupting the pattern. And because she's doing that, he can't handle that. So now his mind is on some other man may get up in here and starts talking sweet nothings in her ear, and she may fall in bed with him. That's
Oh
what his
well.
biggest worry is.
Oh well. Oh well, said the lady that really doesn't care about him and his wife getting back together. Oh well. I mean, if it wasn't for that son, I really would say they should have been through that marriage away. But I
Mm,
understand that they have a child, but sometimes it's just not worth it though, because you bringing up a whole nother generation to be just as toxic as your generation. Like, so the son is seeing all this toxic behavior, and he thinks if the mother accepts it and continues to live with and stay married to his sad father, he thinks that that's okay.
yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah,
I think that's really sad. But you're right though. We saw him kind of like trying to walk up on her, but thank God, like I said, Cliff, his stock really went up because besides being a zaddy, he was really being a very alpha male. He was leading by example, and he was letting Glenn know that this is not okay. This type of behavior is not okay.
yeah. And I think he was referred to as the OG. I think Glenn referred to him as the OG, respecting his elder because Cliff is the elder. And
Mm-hmm.
and he's been around the block probably more than Glenn has, or seen more or experienced a little bit more. So he
Read
listened to
that
the
comment
OG.
that Yeah, read that comment that Miss Bell has to kind of to
Uh,
comment on that.
all
Yeah.
right, Miss Bell says Letitia continues to accommodate and tolerate her husband's antics. At this point, I'm starting to believe she likes it. Well, that's not far off, Miss Bell, because again, I just said
Mhm.
she had been
Mhm.
putting up with this. He go out and cheat, talk sweet nothings. They end up back in bed, you know,
Miss Bell.
and and
Mhm.
that kind of toxicity becomes normal. It's very attractive. You have people that they fight and argue. I mean, they get into these altercations, and then later on that night they're making love, and that's a pattern. See,
Mhm.
people get attached and get attracted to that kind of toxicity, and they live with
Oh,
it for years. It becomes a
okay.
pattern.
Okay, and then I'm going to read. I'm going to take high vibe. She kind of doubles down on that. She says she should have handled that interruption better. Not judging, but it seems as if there has been physical situation in their past.
Mm,
That's what I was thinking. I wouldn't
mm,
be surprised, high vibe. I really wouldn't if that's the
mm,
case. I wouldn't be. And we're just saying, we're guessing, we're imagining because we don't
mm,
know. But
mm,
I think that that's very possible. And to what Alex is saying my father told me something when I was probably maybe 12, 13, 14 years old. No, younger than I wasn't even in high school, so I think I might have been about 12. He said something and I found it very shocking, but as I grew up and became a woman, I found it to be true. My father said that there are some women that don't believe a man loves them unless he's putting their hands on them, and I don't mean in a romantic sense.
I've
I
seen
mean in
it.
a physical rough sense.
I've seen
And
it many a day.
I grew up and I saw exactly what my father was talking about by being in the
Hmm.
household, getting my hair braided at the time by a family member, and that was the way her and her man got down like that. And I just said, to me, that's just totally crazy. That's ludicrous
Mm.
because there's no
Right.
way that I think it's sexy that some man puts his hands on me, smacks me around, pushes me, punches me, or none of that. I don't think none of that is sexy or appealing. That
Yeah,
is
they get.
disgusting to
Yeah,
me.
they're turned on by it. You know, it makes for better sex. It
Well, see,
heightens.
these are toxic people. I think what we're
Right.
getting at, what the
Hmm.
point of it is, and that's why I say, a lot of these people are exhibiting toxic behavior. This off
Hmm.
again, on again thing. This dating somebody, breaking up. This dating somebody. Sorry about that, guys. This whole thing of dating somebody that wants to put their hands on you, or being married to somebody and thinking it's okay, and then you want to go make love.
Yeah.
That's for the birds. I'm
Where I
sorry.
fought Letitia at this party is when her and Glenn were separated by a cliff.
Oh,
Them
I'm
two were
sorry.
talking. They were talking as gentlemen. Cliff is
Hmm.
trying to school Glenn on some things, and Letitia comes out of her room to walk past them, but she has to stop and go, "Well, what's going on here? Mind your business. Keep walking. Let the men talk. Don't instigate the situation." She had
Right.
no
Yeah, I
business
did notice
stopping
that.
there. Yeah, she had no business
Mhm.
stopping to ask nothing. Keep walking. And
Mhm.
I understand if it's TV, they must have told her stop and ask him something or whatever. I don't know,
Yeah,
but
she had walked in, I think, and he had mentioned her name, and she was right behind him when he said it. So she kind of
yeah.
like kind of like as a jab. She was like, "Oh yeah, whatever, whatever." She let it be known that she was there. And I want to stop and say, Roro, thank you so much, Roro, for real, our 18 member, one of our day ones. I want to thank you so much for that that super chat for $2. And Roro says, "Yeah, I agree with you both. Glenn is out of control." Yes, he absolutely is, Roro. He is out of control. He shows every episode that he's basically a little boy in a man's body.
And this is a perfect example how people cannot put their squabbles or their petty, misjudgings behind just for a day, just for a few hours for a kid party. You should be adult enough to put that stuff to the side for a couple of hours, just for your child. You want to argue later, you know. But if this is a kiddie party, you both say you love your child, put that stuff to the side just for a couple
Hmm.
of hours. The party doesn't last all day,
It doesn't. It's a kids' party. They
right?
usually when you're having them out at those different little, those little venues, they have a set time. They're gonna give
Yeah,
you like maybe 2, maybe 3 hours tops,
yeah,
and
a
usually
couple
it's
of
two
hours.
hours.
Yeah, it's a couple
Couple
of
of
hours.
hours. I mean, you can't just go without fighting for 2 hours. My goodness. Oh my goodness.
Mm.
Um, but anyway, so while the party continues, I don't know if anybody else saw this or felt this way, but I felt like when there was the cake cutting going on at the party. So as we move along, um, it seemed like to me after he kind of let Latrice know that he still held some kind of grudge, but then later on kind of turned it around and was saying some things and asking her some questions, which I felt like he was actually flirting with Latrice. Was that just
Mm.
me?
I
Did
didn't.
you
I
see
didn't
that?
see that. I didn't see it. I didn't see the
Mhm.
flirting aspect of it. I don't know. You're a
I
woman. You may
think
see it differently.
I think Glenn just can't help himself because honestly, if you go back and look at that, did
Mm.
anybody else out there, 18, Roro, Evelyn, LMV, you guys, high vibe. Am I the only one that saw that at some point while he was kind of chopping it up with Latrice, that Glenn actually started flirting with that woman?
Yeah, I'll have to see that scene again. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'll have to see it again. I didn't see what you saw.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me see what they're saying out here in the comments. I want to
Mm.
go back.
But
Okay.
I,
I don't know. Nobody's really responded yet. You
but
guys, if you can type it in, if you saw that something that looked like flirting, or I don't know, maybe he wasn't, but I felt like, I really looked at it and actually saw wow, because I had to look at it again and I still saw the same thing. I said, well, this man is flirting. And I thought about it. So maybe, the only thing I could think about, maybe he was doing it to try to get his wife's attention because she was standing right there with them when they were cutting the cake.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
It may
So,
be. We know
hmm
Glenn likes attention, so he likes
and
his
that's what I
attention.
said here too. That he's thirsty, seeking attention from everybody. Letitia wants to limit Glenn being front and center. So after a while, she said that when they cut the cake, or she was going to do, oh, they were getting ready to go open the presents, her son, and she wanted Glenn to stay back with the cake. She didn't. I don't know if she just didn't want him in the pictures, or she just maybe didn't want him because of the tension between them. Maybe she just wanted him away from her.
Mm,
And then I just said that they're giving toxic. They really
mm,
are. But we'll
mm,
move on. So then, Glenn goes to talk to Cliff, and that's where we get this great analogy about Glenn is a goat on top of a mountain, and Tisha is an eagle that plucks him up and drops him down low. Like, I was
yeah,
like, what in the heck?
yeah. Ghetto Shakespeare, you know.
Exactly. Ghetto. Oh, wait a minute. I got to give you a laugh for that one.
Mm,
Yeah, he was definitely doing some ghetto Shakespeare because Cliff was like, "What are you talking about, sir? This is not
right.
making no sense." And that's
Yeah,
where
Cliff
Cliff,
was lost.
but that's where Cliff said in the confessional to us, the viewers. That's where Cliff said, "But you know what? Long story short, no matter what you say, and all I know is you reap what you sow." And I was like, "Yes, sir. Yes,
That's
sir."
it. That's
Let me
it.
go back over here to the comments. Go ahead. You can
Mm.
keep talking. I'm gonna
No,
look.
people don't understand that, there's a universal law out here. Certain things have been set into play when this place was created. It's never going to change. No matter how many generations of life go through this place, reaping and sowing has never gone any place. It's never going to go any place. It's undefeated.
What's It's a
I guarantee
universal
you.
law. It's a
Reaping and sowing
universal
is
law.
and it's undefeated.
Undefeated. Read what High Vibe says on the screen, please.
Glenn was flirting. He strikes me as a man who likes feisty women, but not as his wife. Possible.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And Roro says, I don't understand the conflict with Glenn and Latrice. He seemed low key angry with her to me. Yes, he did. Well, like kind of back to what High Vibe is saying, I think that while it may turn him on the one hand, a woman being feisty, but a lot of men honestly cannot deal with a woman that's alpha if they think that they're an alpha or they wish to be an alpha. A lot of men you find in life cannot deal with strong, resilient women that have a mind of their own, especially down there in the South. I'm just going to go ahead and say it, call it like I see it. But it's in the North too. But a lot of men that come from a Southern background want to be that alpha male, want to be that leader. And this is what he's thinking. But by her not being his woman, and I've told men this too, I'm not your wife, sir. You go home and tell that to your wife because me, I don't have to listen to you. You're not my daddy and you're not my husband. Those are the only two men that I'm beholden to. The only two.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I don't know. I don't know what all that tension is between them. Y'all can see it as sexual tension or whatever, but I
Well, and
see it as.
she is an attractive woman. Let's just say that too.
But you
She is
know what?
attractive, and
He,
he may be looking at that like men who cheat. I think often have that mindset that not that his wife is not attractive because I think Letitia is beautiful, but she's a thicker woman. And men that cheat, oftentimes their whole excuse is they wanted something different. So if you look at it from a physical standpoint, Latrice is definitely built up differently than his wife.
mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, she's definitely built differently, but somebody like Glenn, you just never know what his motives may be. His mind is all over the place anyway.
Okay. Oh, LNV said, LNV, tell me what you mean? Oh, like Magic Mike from RTL, like Magic.
In what way?
Oh, yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
Mm,
'Cause I'm trying to run that together with what we were
yeah.
saying about. Um,
Mm-hmm. In
okay.
what
And then
way?
wait a minute, I'm gonna go back to because I kind of glossed over this one. Letitia is all Glenn knows. Nah, he know more than he got an 8-year-old son
Mm,
with somebody else. So
mm,
Letitia is all Glenn knows, and I believe allegedly, I believe he would be lost without her, but that marriage is dead. Yeah.
mm,
Now that I
mm,
agree with, Miss Bell.
mm,
Absolutely. I think that he needs her because, and you said this too, Alex. Our last podcast, Glenn needs Letitia. She's like in my opinion, she's more like a mother to him. she's that friend, that homegirl. They've known each other since high school, so they got all that going for them. But the problem is in their relationship and marriage, as I see it, is that he doesn't respect her. He doesn't
Mm-hmm.
give her the respect that is due a woman that has had your child for you, risked her life to give you, to bring life into the world, carry your seed. He doesn't, and she's been faithful to him, and she's a good woman. He doesn't value her. And so for
Mm-hmm.
that, he loses on all counts on that end for me.
Yeah, and
But
also too
mhm.
the tension with Latrice and the vitriol with Latrice can also be, and as a man, we know this, that women tend to get with their girlfriends and talk mess about you. You know, when you're screwing up. So that's what he's probably has vitriol
Mm.
because he probably figured the girlfriends are telling Letitia, leave this bum alone. You know what I mean? So
Now you know what? Now that's an excellent, because I've experienced that as a girlfriend with married my friends having been married, and when things were going on in their marriage, they're confiding in me.
mhm,
I keep it to myself. I can actually hold water, unlike some of these people on these reality shows. I keep it to myself. I mean, we'll just have the discussion between the two of us. But I have, like, I was just thinking the other day, like, I received such vitriol. One of my used to be best girlfriends, for 30 plus years, her husband on his 50th birthday, got a little slosh with the drinking, and said some really rude comments to me. And I just held my tongue, because I thought to myself, like, I know enough about you two, and about you specifically, to literally verbally destroy you right here in front of these people. But I'm going to hold my tongue, because I'm a good one. But you,
mhm.
sir, you need to know that I know all where all the bodies are buried and where all the
Right,
bones are.
right,
Mhm.
right.
Mhm. So don't
He know
play with
women
me, sir.
talk. Yep.
Mhm.
He
Well,
know
men
he know
do
women are
too. Yep.
talking and
Mhm.
well we talking about in the case of Letitia
Yeah.
Letitia and Glenn,
Right.
he know those women are talking and nobody sees him in a positive light. He knows that.
Well, you know what? And I think, more to the point, I like what you said. I feel like a lot of, I give a lot of leverage to the one part that you said, though, too, that he may be really concerned, or feel that, whether it's true or not, that this woman, that Latrice is possibly telling his wife, that is over with her and her marriage, and for her to move on.
Right.
That's what I
Right.
think he fears. So that's a very
Mm-hmm.
good point that you brought up. You brought
Mm-hmm.
to the table. I think that's a very good point, because I hadn't considered that, but that's absolutely right. And let's go back here and see what Ellen V is saying, what she meant about Magic Mike. You want to read that?
Magic Mike doesn't like women who voice themselves or strong women. Mm.
Oh yes, absolutely. Because we know that on the show Ready to Love this season in Miami, that Magic Mike, he does not like Sharice, because why? And Kadian, because why? Because they both voice their opinion. And that's what
Mm-hmm.
I was saying about in the South. You've got a lot of men also down there, which I guess my friend says Florida isn't South, but I say Florida is as South as you
That's
can
about
get. I
south
don't
as you
care.
can get. That's about as far
Well, you
south as
know
you
what
can
he
get.
says? He says is not. He moved from Michigan to. He lived in Canada. He lived in New
Mm.
York. And hey, Tiger, if you're out there listening, one of our 18 members, hey, Tiger, this is for you. But he swears up and down that Republican state is not South. But yes, it is. Yes, it
Yeah.
absolutely is
I
South.
think I think I think he's confusing
Don't play with
south.
yourself.
He's
Don't
confusing
play with
south and country is what he's confusing.
Yeah,
You
I
know.
guess I guess he's saying, because it, and I will say, now, he taught me this, and I've, because he's been down there for several years, and I looked it up myself. The nice thing about Florida is there are a lot of immigrants. There are a lot of Russians. There are a lot of
Mm,
people from around the world, and so you're right. It's very diverse in Florida, right? But it's
mm-hmm.
still South, and I'll never forget being down there. And I had been down there times before, because I had been to Disney World with my mother and my daughter, when she was young, and I've been there several times. I've been to Daytona Beach. I've been to different parts. But I was down there one time, and I decided to walk from the hotel to the local little, it was a shopping strip mall, right? And I never in my life, and I've been in Texas like my whole life, because that's where my mother's from. I never experienced so much racism
Mm,
like I did down there
mm,
in Florida.
mm,
I really like, so don't tell me it's not South. It's very much
mm.
South.
And big and flat, no hills whatsoever. Just the biggest, flattest state. you,
Well,
I've been
it's
through there many
sunshiny
times.
though.
Yeah, it's sunshiny for sure. You know,
Well,
so
yeah, okay. So LNV, yeah, she's doubling down on what you said. It's
mm,
South, but we're not considered country. I'm not saying
exactly.
whether they're country or not, but I'm just saying South. And for me, as a black person in America, when I say South, South is not only a geographical location, but it's also a mindset.
But
That makes
that's where
sense,
your
Ellen?
friend that's where your
That's a
friends get it
mindset.
confused. But we're
I'm not
saying,
saying country though, because you're right. I never
mm,
Florida is not like Texas in that sense. Well, going back years ago, like I said, I've been going to Texas since I was a little girl. So I know Houston, for example, has changed and grown a lot because I can remember when Houston was a little hick town. Now everybody wants to live in Houston. Houston is the new Atlanta, really. Like
right,
people are
right.
not so much rush flocking to Atlanta because for one, Texas has better real estate prices and Texas also has more job opportunities. So let's say
Hmm.
that. But anyway, but the whole southern part, what I'm saying is that racism. Like for example, in Atlanta, I can remember Atlanta being in the mall, and this is granted, this is a couple of decades ago, so maybe it's better now. But I can remember being in a mall where a young African American guy and a Caucasian girl, teenager, were walking hand in hand. And I'm telling you, if the looks from those Caucasian people down there could kill, both of those kids would have been dead. They would have been dead. And
Hmm.
I have never to this day, I've never liked Georgia after that. I've never liked my time visiting Buckhead in Atlanta. I was like, y'all can have this. I'm not
Hmm.
into it. I'm not
Yeah,
into
well,
it because one thing about it, I take my Caucasian people, like if you're racist, you just keep it to yourself and I'm good. But don't be
mm,
bringing out your racism toward me or my family because I'm not with that. I'm not with the SHITSs. Not
mm,
with
yeah,
it. So that's just my feeling on that. So
yeah.
but
But
we're gonna get ready to wrap this up. So Glenn says, "Oh, we're gonna move on past that. I'm sick of talking about Glenn now." Um, JJ invites the men to go fishing. Glenn starts off with his melodrama about once again, here go Glenn again, talking
mm,
about how he's accused of cheating and baby making outside of his marriage. He does admit to having an affair, but he doesn't seem to want to take the DNA test. We
mm.
kind of touched on that a little bit already, quite a
Yeah,
bit.
he said something crazy like, "Oh, all black people got big noses." Like, what does that have to
Oh
do with
no,
your DNA test? You know?
exactly, exactly.
So,
Deflecting,
yeah,
deflecting.
deflecting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Just
also
like
too,
when people don't have a good argument and they can't back up their statement with fact or logic, they want to deflect.
the men were having a nice time because
They were.
JJ and Cliff were going back and forth because apparently back in the day, Cliff messed with one of JJ's exes.
Oh
And
well, like
Cliff,
we said, it's a small town.
yeah, small time. Cliff started deflecting because JJ was saying, yeah, he did it. And Cliff was like, can we talk about something else, please? So he didn't deny
Yeah,
it, you
Cliff
know.
didn't deny it, but he said it was 23 years ago. He said he
Right,
didn't
right.
deny it. He
He
just
didn't
said it was
deny it.
23 years ago. And I guess the thing of it is maybe too. I don't know, but I'm assuming that they were maybe not married. I'm assuming these
Mm,
people were dating. Everybody was
right,
dating one another, and if they
right.
weren't married, I guess he said no harm, no foul. So move
Mm.
on.
And Willie, who seemed totally lost in this whole conversation, he was like, well, can I ask you all a question? Is cheating a country thing? Is it
It's
because
a Mississippi thing. He
the
said, "What do
Mississippi
you like
thing?
about Mississippi besides all the cheating that goes on here?"
So they got very defensive with that. They go, people don't cheat up north. So yeah, they do,
They
but it
do.
seemed like
They do.
these smaller towns, like everybody know everybody and sleep with everybody. That's what it seemed like sometimes in these small,
Yeah.
country places.
I think
So
though too, you know what I was just thinking about because and I don't know how this plays into it, but let's say for example, down in Mississippi that whole longshoreman tugboat thing is a real career, right? I mean,
yeah,
it's a good paying job. And
hmm,
so these are men that are traveling and going away. So, you think about NBA ball players or NFL players that move around from city to city every week. They're in a new city, and all these women are chasing after them because they know they make a lot of money. So I just kind of looked at that culture too. Like I don't know if that's part of it,
yeah,
but I also feel like that in the South, I know some of the mindsets that my mom used to have when I was growing up and became a young woman. I realized that some of the mindsets that she had were things that were very specific to her growing up in Texas, i.e., growing up in the South, that me and my friends and their mothers who grew up here in the North, they did not have that same mindset. Mainly, the kind of idea that some women have that they're going to stand by their man, whether they're cheating or not, because that's what happened with their mothers and their mothers' mothers, and that this is what it is. You get what I'm
Mm.
saying?
Absolutely.
And
The
a lot of
chat is
women up here in the north, they're making all this money. They like, I'll be damned if I'm staying with a cheating man, because I'm
yeah,
making 150,000. So bye.
yeah. And the chat kind of lit right now with some of these
Yeah, I'm getting ready to get
some of
right
this
over here.
some of these racist comments that
Okay,
going
let me
on.
get over here. Let me get
Yeah,
over here. Oh,
chat
yeah, you're
kind of
right.
lit
I'm
right
sorry.
now.
I was over
Mm-hmm.
here on the thing. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
let me slide back up to the toward where I think it's I left off
Mm-hmm.
at.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, okay.
some interesting comments in there. Mm-hmm.
Glenn doesn't have respect for women, period. Yeah, I see that. And again, I think that's sort of kind of Southern. So he
Right.
doesn't have boundaries on how he speaks to them or if it's in front of Letitia. Right. Yeah, he
Mm-hmm.
doesn't. He clearly doesn't. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I just don't see it's got to be me and my northern modern woman ways. I'm just not seeing that in any world that I would ever be with a guy like Glenn. I
Mm-hmm.
don't see it. Um, Magic Mike doesn't like women. Oh,
Oh,
we got that
we
one.
did that
Okay.
already.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay.
A little
Okay. Okay.
further down.
Right.
A little further down.
Glenn has
Right,
mommy
exactly.
issues. Let me just
Okay.
do it my way, sir. Could you not like
Hurry
micromanage
up,
me?
woman. I want to get to the meat. Hurry up, woman.
Okay. 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 Uh, but I gotta
Oh,
go at my pace. It's not as easy as it looks on the outside when you're not doing it.
mm,
Latrice did say that she would call Glenn out on his mess. Oh
mm,
yeah, that was one of
mm,
the reasons. Getting back to
mm.
okay, now you're
Yeah.
talking about you want to take this one since you're in such a rush.
Yeah.
Oh, we did that
Florida.
one. Okay,
Yeah, we did that one. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes,
I'm
ma'am. We
lost
did that
then.
one.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm in Florida. Yes,
Definitely not south, y'all. It's
is
below
de-
those.
it says
It's
it's
definitely
definitely
south.
so.
It's definitely
Yeah,
south. No
of
question
course it
about it.
is.
Mm-hmm.
And we call it the you're in Southern Florida. We call it the bottom of the
Of the
bottom.
bottoms,
Really?
right. Yeah, but we got an
Oh,
area, of Virginia we call the bottoms. Um,
mm,
I
mm.
nigga roll for real. I talked to the Grand Puma of the Ku Klux Klan here in Florida, and said
Well,
what? What was that discussion like?
yeah. Oh, and her and I've had this conversation privately. We'll talk about that, but I'm gonna say this though too, because I'm not gonna just put like I said, I'm an American, and in
Mm.
this country, racism is rampant. Let's just say that because one of the main
What?
places we have hold on, we have here in Michigan one of the largest sectors of the KKK or whatever the new thing, the Aryan Nation or whatever they want to call themselves today, tomorrow. These domestic terrorists. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Um, so and then here, you want to read this one?
Yeah. So does Georgia. Georgia, the Klan started in Stone Mountain, Georgia.
Yeah,
Um,
like I
e-
said, I didn't like nothing
yeah.
about Georgia. I'll never have to go back.
LNV. When I was in high school, we had a tour of Rosewood, the famous Rosewood,
Oh
Florida,
yeah,
and
yep,
and
yep.
saw some landmarks. We ended it with a picnic, and those people started coming out with their flags, and it was time to go. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
I know
Yep.
that's right. Oh, I know which
Yep.
flags you're talking about too. We
Right.
all know
We
those
already know what
flags.
flags you're talking about. We already know that.
Mm-hmm. And Roro,
Roro
oh, go,
says,
mhm.
yes, I worked for the town of Eatonville, the oldest black incorporated city in the country. The Klan wanted to march in their in their centennial parade. Hmm.
Ooh, yeah, that was part of the conversation we had. I remember that. And Eatonville, by the way, correct me if I'm mistaken, Roro, but isn't that the city that my favorite author of all time, Zora Neale Hurston, of the Black Renaissance period, isn't that the
Yeah,
town that she was born and
yeah, that's
raised
my
in?
girl there. That's my girl there.
You know
So Neil
about some
Hurston.
Zora Neale Hurston. You don't
I,
know
qu-
nothing about her.
I quote her all the time. She got a great quote, and it says,
Well, what does
she
it say?
says, "Are you angry at me for what I said? Or are you angry at me because it's true?" I love that quote. Love it.
Ah, that is you. Oh, okay. That wasn't my other boo. That was you. Oh, okay. All right. Read what High Five says while we get ready to get on out of here. Read that.
Willie was acting like he was better, just like his wife. Oh, that's what Willie was
Oh,
doing.
oh, kind of bougie. But you
Yeah,
know
kind of
what?
boo.
I I like that Bronx, New York fella. I really do, because I can understand what he's saying without subtitles.
Right. Yeah. No subtitles.
And I love the way he fit in with the men, because he just had a good time with them. And even though he caught the fish, it was a little tiny little something. But I like that he went out, he bought his fishing gear, and he wanted to be a part of the group. He wasn't like some people might see his wife as being standoffish, but he got right in there with the fellas. You know what I'm saying? He got right
Yeah.
in there.
Hmm.
He really did.
Ugly hat and all. He got right in there.
He got right in there, but I think he's adorable. I guess I kind of liken him a little bit to Chris on Love and Marriage DC, because he's a big teddy bear kind of
Right.
guy.
Both
You
football
know,
players. You know.
yeah, and but I like the way he treats his wife though. But see, to me, that's a northern thing. Like I
Mm.
mean, the way he treats his wife. And I think she's glad she married a northerner. Wait a minute, what Roro
Mm,
said? Yeah, Zora Neale Hurston is from Edenville. That's what I thought.
mm,
That's what I thought.
yeah. Yeah.
And so let's see. We got a Oh, I said, you know what? The only comment I had left, or what we're going to talk about. Did you see the trailer? What did that look like for you? Like that fashion show coming up? It almost looks as if maybe greedy slash demon slash demon may be trying to propose finally after
Mm.
101 years.
We'll see. But what was interesting is I'm not sure if it was this past episode or the one before, but when they brought up the
Hmm.
young lady in the emotional affair, somebody in production was laughing at him. He got offended, very offended, and he was like, "Why are you
Oh
laughing?"
yeah,
You
that
know.
that part. Yeah, but
Mhm.
that what I didn't understand was why he couldn't answer the question the production was asking him. He was like,
He-
"Next question." I don't.
Very
I mean,
offended.
I'm sure they probably edited some things. Guys, go ahead and like the video. It really helps me to stay here on YouTube and bring you Alex and I to bring you more videos like Ready to Love, Married at First Sight panel, and what we do here on Mondays is always Bell Collective, right?
Yep.
So please like the video. I thank you so much, Roro, for your super chat. I really appreciate that. All those things help us to stay on the air. And go ahead, and if you're not already subscribed and you're watching, go ahead and join the family. Go ahead and
Yes.
join the family, for real, for real. You
Hmm.
know? Um
Absolutely.
mhm.
Absolutely. I had a great time with this discussion tonight. All you guys, go over and like and subscribe to my channel, Magnetic Repellent. Got a great video.
Yes, I was mhm.
I just put out the effects of negativity bias.
Negativity bias. That was
Hmm.
so interesting. You got to go over there and find out what that is, because Roro was asking me, what is negativity bias? But if you go over there, Alex does an excellent job on uh the magnetic repellent with Alex W. Lee. He does an excellent job of discussing what that is. In fact, let me see. We've got
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and you are on your way, well on your way to over 100 subscribers.
My
So
road
go
to
ahead and
100.
join Road to 100. LNV got that in there. Thank you, LNV. I really appreciate you. And guys, send some purple hearts out to LNV and myself. I thank you guys for being here. We love you all. We hope that we brought you some good quality entertainment today on Labor Day. And we just want to thank you. We really enjoyed you. And we're going to head on out. You want to say anything else, Alex?
I just want to say I appreciate everybody, and we're gonna catch you on the next podcast very soon.
Very soon, coming up very soon. And go back if you haven't watched our Married at First Sight. We do that a panel with Kimberly Reviews and also India and Igor. Let's talk. So they were very exciting young couple. So, guys, we'll see you in the next video.